Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Wednesday, October 9th at midnight 2019. That's Mountain Time. The models are in, and the media is not reporting on the facts. They're telling you about a storm that's going to end on Friday, and we'll get to that. Looking like 4 feet in some areas in North and South Dakota. And we also have a bolide, Sacramento to San Diego, and that is coupled with Ecuadorian unrest. Paralyzing protests in Ecuador continuing today over a series of labor and tax reforms. Keep calm. It's just beginning. These are the signs of the times to come. PG&E power shutoff could last 5 days or longer in Napa County. Heads up. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. That's why we got a new webcam. And we've got new audio. I hope you love it. After days of warning, Pacific Gas and Electric confirmed Tuesday afternoon that almost 1 million customers across 34 counties will be left in the dark starting at midnight and continuing for up to 5 days or more. Read the full story here. Links will be below. Now, PG&E plans to shut off power to Napa County starting Wednesday morning. The shutoff could last 5 days or longer. And you're fluxed. Napa isn't the only area that might go dark this week. PG&E is monitoring 30 of California's 58 counties for a potential power shutoff due to severe wind events. And they got their asses sued. So that means you're going to be in the dark. If you don't have backup generators or power, I don't know how 1 million people are going to keep their refrigerators on. This is absolutely the beginning of the end of the empire. It's starting here. It's the rollout. This is the loss of money. First, the infrastructure fails. Then the markets fail. The markets dropped 300 today. Are you watching? While cryptocurrencies are creeping up. I dumped another few hundred in XLM and Bit, a few other things. I got a whole bunch of EOS at 280. It's up at 320 today. Now, snowstorms could unload 2 feet of snow and lash north and central U.S. with blizzard conditions, which is unheard of, and we're going to get to the facts and the data. Shut up, Al! The second major storm in 10 days will dump several inches to 4 feet of snow, according to Diamond, over the northern Rockies by Monday morning. South Dakota is the lose zone, as well as North Dakota, all the way up to the Hudson Bay. Even Manitoba and Canada, they're scrambling. The storm system will bring another round of early season accumulating snow to nearly 500,000 square miles of the interior of the United States. And it's not a headline. I'm the only one that is bloviating about this. And in some cases, the snow will fall less than 24 hours after temperatures could be in the 70s, even the 80s. That's the meridional flow and the breakdown of the jet stream caused by the shutdown of the sun, the magnetic reversal, and everything you don't want to believe in. Commuters in the Denver metro area will experience quite a shock on Thursday morning, following temperatures that rise into the 70s, upper 70s. On Tuesday and Wednesday, Denver will be blasted with snow and frigid temperatures that plunge into the teens and the tweens by Wednesday night into the Thursday. Well before Saturday and well after Tuesday, which could have been their lose day. It's anyone's guess. Now, these storms have been more than disastrous to farmers. And even the Weather Channel is starting to watch Ice Age Farmer and Diamond's channel, as well as Adapt 2030 and others. And they're picking up what we're putting down.
It's been a rough year for farmers in the Midwest, from multiple storms, to heavy rainfall and flooding.
Yeah, there really hasn't been much nice weather there. Farmers have been dealing with waterlogged fields, which have slowed down the planting and harvest seasons. Now a new threat on the horizon, a winter storm that could stack up some impressive snow totals, produce blizzard conditions, and also bring in some cold weather. Bill Chase is a farmer in Huron, South Dakota, and joins us on the phone this morning. Good morning, Bill. Thanks for talking to us. Let's get an idea of this winter storm and certainly how it stacks up to the year that you've had.
Well, good morning, and thanks for the opportunity. And probably the thing we need the least right now is a winter storm, with the issues that we've been facing all summer with the extremely wet ground that we're dealing with. We can't hardly drive on any of this ground. There's so much moisture. The ground is wet. The cattle are out in the pastures yet, and we really can't bring them in around the farmsteads because of the wet conditions around the farmsteads, mud, and still from last spring. We had issues with blizzards last spring, and it just hasn't let up all summer. It just rains and rains and rains.
So can you give us an update on your crops? What percentage have you been able to plant?
We planted about 20% of our tillable farm ground, and then it got wetter after that, so quite a bit of that did drown back out that we were able to plant. The soybeans, they've been waterlogged all summer. They don't look very good. The corn, I think we'll have some corn. It's just a matter of being able to get in there and harvest it because of the mud.
Bill, let's talk about the livestock a little bit. You know, we got this winter storm coming up with a lot of snow, wind, and cold. I mean, what would you typically do if you could get them in? Would you bring them in, or are they kind of fend for themselves?
Bring them in.
Well, at this early stage, no, we wouldn't probably bring them in. We might take some cover to them in the pastures where they're at. The cattle are pretty good at finding cover where they can. Back behind a dugout bank or a tree strip or something, they'll find a break to get into. But at this time of year, that rains on them, gets them wet first, and then their hair is wet, and then when it starts snowing and blowing, it's extremely difficult for them to deal with that. So we're hoping that it doesn't get as bad as what they're saying it might.
So
we're
where do you
hoping,
go from here?
We're hoping and
point?
we're praying, and we're going to play a song to the animals. Let's hope those cows come home, because what it sounds like is these ranchers are unprepared, and over 500,000 square miles are going to be buried in over 1 foot of snow. That means there is no feed going out to these animals, blizzard conditions, and it's going to be a rough situation, a situation that they're not revealing to you. A snowstorm will wallop central U.S. this weekend, plunging temps as much as 60 degrees in one day. There's the facts from the Factless USA Today. Significant travel impacts, tree damage, sporadic power outages will be possible. You can monitor it at poweroutage.us. And we'll be sharing that site with you tomorrow as the storm begins to unfold. Both Denver and Minneapolis could see their first snow of the season. A reason to be believing that Al Gore is a bore. Temperatures will plunge as much as 60 degrees in the span of 12 to 24 hours, which it does every single night here. So that's not that new. But the snow totals, the storm totals. A lot of these articles are reporting on snow through Friday, as if this is the storm. Here's Saturday, and then Sunday, your fun day, after 48 or more inches, because it's off the charts here in this part of North Dakota, accumulate. After they say, oh, it's 2 to 12 inches. And then the next day they say, oh, it's 2 to 2 feet. And what are they going to say tomorrow? I've warned you for over, I think it's 11 days now that 4 feet of snow is going to fall in this region. So you had an 11-day warning if you watch my channel. 11 days. And we're only out till the 13th here. Take a look. Take a look at the Sierras getting buried. Hello. All the way down, and the nexus of the schmexus of the Texas could have a tippy touch. We've been warning about it. and it's coming soon. Now, how common are these winter storms in Kiloland, however you can say it, during the month of October? We have the data. We have the documents. Now, we've been through October snow before, clearly. But the intensity of the snow and wind also need to be taken into consideration, especially because these are blizzard warnings. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance during blizzard warnings. Now, this prick looked into how often blizzard warnings and winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories are issued in the Kiloland or the Keloland or Kellogg's or whatever the fuck it is. It certainly is not food for humans. It's food for sheep. That entire region. GMO corn, GMO soybeans, GMO kiss my ass, chemical inputs, and poison. And we'll get to that. This is my passion. This is what woke me up. This is what I dedicated 150 hours a week, nonstop, to organize the March Against Monsanto. And we have some footage from 2014. Stick with us. It's awesome. Now, let's get back to how often the blizzard warnings, watches, severe storms, thunderstorms, and blippity-bloppity-blue are issued for Kiloland. The National Weather Service, located in Sioux Falls, Aberdeen, and Rapid City, issued those headlines. And here's what was found. In October, blizzard warnings have been issued once since 2005. Make it twice now, because 2019 is going to be a October to remember. And that was back in October 4th, 2013. Now, Rapid City has issued 5 winter storm warnings in October since that time. Aberdeen has only issued 2, and Sioux Falls hasn't issued any. So this is a historic event which is being underplayed, and I guarantee they're going to get their arses walloped. Now let's come up to Canada, where they actually report on facts. High impact storm threatens Thanksgiving with 40 centimeters of snow and blizzard conditions. Now, don't get your panties in a bunch. Thanksgiving in Canada is Monday, October 11th. If that, in fact, is Monday. Anyway, it has nothing to do with our Thanksgiving in North America, which is based on a bullshit idea about the Pilgrims who wiped out the Indians. Anyway, the Thanksgiving in Canada was because they averted a civil war. But I digress. Let's listen to the forecast and dab together.
We are preparing you for a big storm. This is going to be the middle to the end of the week in through the eastern prairies. So Sask and Manitoba mainly going to get this big winter wallop. So we've got southerly winds out ahead of the low pressure system, northwesterly winds on the backside of it, big temperature gradient, heavy snow, heavy rain for some, depending on where you are in relationship to the low. But it looks like Manitoba, it's going to be all snow for you with some strong gusty winds, maybe even reaching blizzard criteria. So let's talk about it. Wednesday, look at this temperature divide. You've got 11 in Dryden, -4 in Saskatoon. It only gets more defined. How about 3 in Winnipeg and 14 in Dryden? So that's where the warm air is, and that's obviously clearly where the cold air is. But when you have temperatures around 2 or 3, which is really where it's going to hover for the duration of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in Manitoba, you can get that wet kind of sloppy snow, and it's going to be heavy. While it will be blowing and drifting, it's hard to kind of drift that heavy snow around, but it's easy for it to stick to trees and power lines, and we've got a lot of foliage left on the trees this time of year, so power outages are a concern. Plus, we've got wind gusts, 60, 70K, even up to 100 kilometers an hour as we get into Friday. Now, there's the swath of snow that we're watching. Again, Dryden, Thunder Bay, northwestern Ontario looks to be mostly rain for you. And a lot of this snow, as I mentioned, is going to be that heavy, wet snow. So what do we need to actually get a blizzard? It's the 444 rule. We've got winds sustained of 40 kilometers an hour or greater, visibility at 400 meters or less, and conditions must persist for 4 hours or more. I think we're going to hit this wind criteria. We'll be watching closely. Stay with the Weather Network.
You heard it here first. The first with the MERST. I'm trying to get to this. I can't even get down here. Oh my God. We did it. Blizzard criteria, the 444 roll is in effect. Kids, I have to move this. Oh my goodness. That's our new high-def webcam, where you can actually see how gorgeous I am in my new KP0 shirt, which took a while to get here, but was well worth the $18.99 I paid. Yes. Let me see if we can we get it? Yes, I know what you're thinking. I don't even know if you saw that, but you certainly saw my buttocks. Now, so you know what's happening up in Canada. It's going to be a shit show. USDA, also another shit show. As we predicted, many other channels that they were holding back, including that new channel that's just come on the scene, Oppenheimer Ranch or whatever they're called. I like them. I like that guy. He's a real fucking farmer. He's a real worker like me, so he knows what's going on. Not only that, he's put us in a hashtag below his videos, which means he can deal with how we deliver the information, which is right up here. Now let's talk about the USDS. The USDS. Boom! The USDA issues disaster designations after rainy spring delays corn and soybeans, and it's looking like shite. Wow! I never heard that before. Seismic update, no quakes of note. Thank you. Thank you. Worldwide volcano news update. Dukono puffing continuously with volcanic ash to 7,000 feet. Chevaluche back on the program. Sabancaya puffing to 27,000. Nevados de Chilan is in an uptick. Chevaluche erupting. Yeah, to 23,000 feet today. Maybe even higher. I don't know. You can clearly see the soot and other debris emanating from the caldera, which has collapsed partially. We had excellent video from KVert Live, and then they updated the picture, and it sucks. So we can't show you shite. But we'll, real quick, let's try it. Let's try KVert and go to Shiv and see if we can get a one of those updates on the live stream. Now, see how it's broken and it just gives us that one bar? These fuckers. News from Ubinus. Kiss my highness. Look at this baby. This cinder cone once had a top and it's now missing. That's how those things happen. The Geophysical Institute of Peru, or the IGP, recorded and analyzed 3,769 seismic events with the eruptive processes involved. Seismic activity and thermal anomalies were also included, and they would be associated with the rise and proximity of magma to the surface of this Ubinus. But I digress, Your Highness, because proper prior planning prevents you from living anywhere near this fucker. Surveillance cameras have recorded continuous emissions of bluish gases, magmatic in origin, and water vapor, which could mean phreatic eruption, which is like a super fucking boom. Yeah, you add a little water to the cocktail, and it becomes a schmocktail. Now these emissions have reached less than 23,000 feet in altitude, but that means anything. It's anyone's guess what's happening under Ubinus's. Chevaluche, Ubinus, anyone's guess what cools the earth, but we do know what's causing it to get fluxed. Ecuador unrest. Protests erupt for the 6th day over fuel subsidy cuts. Protesters briefly bust through security lines and enter the National Assembly as anger over labor and tax reforms grows, and this guy's probably already dead. Paralyzing protests in Ecuador continued on Tuesday over a series of labor and tax reforms. President Lenin Moreno's decision to scrape decades-old fossil fuel subsidies. Thousands of indigenous peoples who have been marching towards the capital of Quito descended on the city on Tuesday. Protesters were reportedly able to briefly cross security lines into the National Assembly. Before being moved out by police late on Tuesday, Moreno issued a decree that restricted movement from 8 to 5 p.m. It's called martial law and the police state. Welcome to it. Let's get some footage. It's good. Do it, Dad. Please leave for you to be outside. The police are here for your safety.
Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel. Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel. Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel. Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel. Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel. Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel. Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel. Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel. Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel. Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel. Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel. Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel. Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel. Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, y nos meten a la cárcel directamente meternos la mano en el bolsillo y subiendo la gasolina y el diésel. Necesitamos trabajar y nos duele.
Necesitamos trabajar, cabrón. ¿Comprende? Gasolina y diésel
para
es
defender lo
necesito
nuestro.
para
Nada más.
trabajar, cabrón. Pinche pendejos.
Tenemos que levantar hasta que solucione este problema. Vamos a levantar, no vamos a dejar todo, vamos a levantar hasta que firme, hasta que baje la gasolina. Todo tenemos que levantar.
Well, they're certainly pissed. They're trashing their own fucking country because they're so fucking pissed. What do you think is going to happen here? Ha! Sign of the times. Things to come. And it's pretty awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. That's why I'm in the middle of nowhere. Because I can report on it while you sheep get consumed. The last mammoth has died on a remote island, Wrangel Island. Isolation, extreme weather, and the possible arrival of humans may have killed off the Holocene herbivores just 4,000 years ago. They could have still been alive today. But an isolated population after the microburst or the micronova hit the planet just recently actually existed. And we reported on it to 5,400 years ago on this island. But new evidence suggests that these babies were alive as early as 4,000 years ago. So the entire mammoth population was not decimated during the mass extinction of the Younger Dryas event, but 65% of megafauna on land in North America were decimated, including the most awesome animals like the woolly mammoth in North America, the saber-toothed cat, the giant sloth, the cave bear, and many others. Just amazing fauna completely eliminated. Due to cosmogenic events and radiation, which is about to hit us in the near future, which is why we have the channel and why we want you to prepare. Preparewiththeranch.com. Preparewiththeranch.com. But I digress. Let's get back to the mammoths. These babies were isolated on Wrangel Island. If you don't know where that is, it's just north of the Bering Strait in the Chukchi Sea here, just south of the Arctic Ocean. In the Arctic Ocean, but they call it the East Siberian Sea, actually off of Pevek in Krusha. But it's basically exactly in the opposite position, if we can go over here on the other side of the pole, to where every other creature was completely obliterated. And some of the mammoths were frozen solid with food in their mouth. So on the other side of the pole, the 180-degree mark, the mammoths that could swim through the ocean and get up here on Wrangel Island lived. Because remember, there was a giant swirl of debris up here in the North Pole, which was basically all of the Northern Hemisphere forests were swirling in a circle up here. It was quite an event. It was quite something to see. But something like a giant mammoth could literally swim out of the ocean up onto Wrangel Island and make it. And then once things calmed down, they lived for 7,000 years more. They could have still been alive today if it wasn't for greedy pricks that wanted to eat their asses and carve their ivory or sell it to some other rich prick. Can you imagine that's our history? Why we decimated all the amazing creatures? Because rich pricks paid for it? Now, I had this translated earlier today, and let's see if it's still translated, because a lot of times the translation will go away. Oh, thank God, it's still here. So, can future Earth temperatures be calculated? This paper came out in November 2013, and what they took was 10,000 years of all the solar science data, the proxy data from the Holocene, and they chucked it right into a supercomputer, and they kicked out one of the most impressive graphs ever. For the first time in history, I believe this is the most accurate appraisal of the future temperature. So you can see here how we reached a warm point just a few years ago. And now we are about to drop off for the next 100 years into oblivion. Here is the Dalton minimum, or the centennial minimum. Here's the Dalton minimum. and then the Maunder minimum. So at least, according to this supercomputer analysis of all the proxy data, we are going to dip at least 2 centennial Dalton levels or deeper between Dalton and Maunder. And this is just mathematical modeling. But it is a paper that is far and few between, and you don't hear about it because it's in a language that you have to translate for yourself, because the media over here on this side of the pond does not care about facts. They want this line to go all the way up here off of the fucking map. That's why they're here, to make the line go off the map. That's what they're paid for. They're paid for to keep this bump all the way up here. But in actuality, we're sitting right here today, right in this spot. Global temperatures are down 0.4 degrees since 2016 February. And they will continue to drop, in my opinion, in the next 6 months to levels never seen before since 1970. We're going to actually drop 0.7 degrees below the current spot in just a few months. And people like Roy Spencer, Tim Ball, and others are going to know exactly why that's happening. And hopefully many of my subscribers. Now, if you want to know where I came from and how serious I am, this is one of maybe the 4th march I organized against Monsanto in Philadelphia. We had probably 3,000 people in the major city center handing out over 10,000 flyers that we paid for personally. I printed maybe 300 to 500 t-shirts. I was printing them live while people were showing up on the silk screen. And we had some of the most successful anti-government and anti-multinational corporation marches ever, directly in front of the halls of multinational corporations. We ended this march in front of Dow. Or we went right by there and said, hey, stop it, you pricks. Now, many of you remember all the rap music I played from Vinnie Straub. I'm going to point him out in all of this video. He's right there. He's marching with me. In fact, he came up to me at this march and was like, dude, you're awesome. Here's some of my CDs. If you like what I'm doing, check me out. And 5 years later, well, it's all history. If you don't know, Monsanto and DDT and PCBs, well, in 1902, Monsanto made the first over-the-counter deadly pharmaceutical called aspirin. It's now available in all dollar stores for $1. You can get 60 pills. And you can kill yourself if you just eat 20 of them. It's a very painful death, but it's the most toxic over-the-counter pill that's available anywhere for almost free. Now, shortly thereafter, they were using DDT and spraying it in the streets in the 40s and 50s. Very carcinogenic. Affected not only the human biome, but the natural biome by thinning eggshells, and almost led to the extinction of bald eagles and other raptors. And then the PCB nightmare, where they claimed it was harmless, and in fact, it's one of the most deadly chemicals on Earth, which has polluted the planet forever. The residence time on PCBs is tens of thousands of years, which means it will be millions of years before it goes away. And it is currently coating the entire Earth in all of our sediment and gets recycled by the geologic processes of erosion and redistribution. PCBs are one of the most toxic substances ever, and Monsanto claimed that they were harmless, paid a small fine, and now they're in control of the food supply because they're called Bayer, which owns over 63% of the seed market in the world. If you don't know how fucked you are, you can suck it because you're fucked.
In the 50s that DDT was safe. Is DDT safe? No! They told us that PCBs were safe. Are PCBs safe? No! PCBs have polluted the planet forever.
Another song with PTP, preaching to his friends. When will it ever end? He's never gonna stop. I try to take your mind and remove it from the box. The key to the locks is you. Take the chain off the blocks and move. It's simple. Stop thinking that it's complicated. I am not mistaken. A lot of hatred is stopping phases of evolution that we're meant to go through. Kill your TV, go out, be more social. Put down your phone too. I'm hopeful if we go through this slow move of stormy weather, I'll show you won't lose. Forming together, I'm past the point of stats and facts. I'm at the point of no looking.
Awesome. Share the love. Watch the video. Give him a thumbs up. Tell him Diamond sent you. Tell Vinny you love him. And PTP Legacy is where you're going to get all of Vinny's videos. So if you like the rap music that I shared last year and in a lot of my videos, check out ptpishere.com. Now some more facts which are disgusting. Hurricane Dorian spilled more than 1 million gallons of oil in the Bahamas. Very few people talking about that. Cleanup underway. Clean it up. NASA's Curiosity rover finds an ancient oasis on Mars. Now, we shared this last night, but I want to share what this first sentence is. If you could travel back 3.5 billion years, you would be at this oasis. This is how stupid these pricks are. We're talking about life on Mars 20,000 years ago, and it was just eliminated around 11.5, the Younger Dryas event, during the cosmic catastrophe that ancient man talked about. Mars is the warrior hero, the archetype from Jung. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to thunderbolts.info and begin your research. You can also go over to the Greg J channel, who we support on Patreon, and check it out from the beginning, because he's a layman and he's explaining it to the layman the way he sees it. So 3.5 billion years ago is total nonsense. Do not believe that time frame. Now, have you heard of the new law? It requires you to listen to Greta Thunberg lecture before purchasing gasoline. A series of new bills working their way through the state legislatures in New York, California, Oregon, and Hawaii, and several other progressive states will require you to listen to Greta Thunberg lecture before purchasing gasoline. Motorists will be required to watch a 20-minute lecture by the 16-year-old climate activist before they purchase gallons and gallons of harmful fossil fuels. And if you believe that, well, you can believe anything.
Sacramento to San Diego saw it flash across the night sky.
Oh,
there it is.
that's
captured
a
on
bolide,
dashcam
baby.
video tonight in Oceanside. The glowing fireball appears to be a meteor burning.
Oh my God. Is it an alien? Did you see Tyler's channel? I wonder what's happening.
Cities like these have a front row seat to meteor showers, and there are a few you may want to mark on your calendar for this month.
Meteorologist Andrew Wilson tells us when and where we can get the best view.
Meteor showers are always something that seem to fascinate us. When you look up at the sky and you see that light just streak across the sky, it's always something beautiful to see. And this week, we're going to have multiple chances to see meteor showers here in South and Central Texas. The Draconid meteor shower peaks tonight. Going to have about 10 meteors per hour. We're also going to have the Southern Taurid meteor shower, which will peak Wednesday night. So the next 2 nights, we're going to have some peak, and weather conditions look great. We're going to have either a clear to a mostly clear sky overhead, and still those cooler conditions that we dealt with just this past evening as well. The Orion meteor shower, in case you missed these next 2 nights, will be peaking later on this month on the 21st and 22nd, and even offers more of a chance to see some more meteors per hour, up to 20 even. So where are some good areas to see some of these meteor showers? You typically want to be away from trees so you can see more sky. Anywhere like around some of our Great Lakes here near San Antonio, anywhere high up in the hill country, getting you above the city lights, and of course anywhere far away from city lights themselves are good. So where are some good spots away from the city light?
J&J hit with $8 billion jury award over antipsychotic drugs. I took a lot of this when I was in rehab and in jail. Risperdal. Apparently it causes man boobs to grow. I didn't take enough. Anyway, before losing its U.S. patent exclusively in 2008, Risperdal was one of J&J's, that's Johnson & Johnson, the same people that brought to you asbestiform talcum powder that my mother put on like this while she got lung cancer every day, and the whole bathroom was filled with it. Stay away from that shit. It's asbestos. Talc is asbestiform mineral. You can't inhale talc. It's asbestos, for Christ's sake. Anyway, so while Johnson & Johnson claims that talc is not asbestos and they still pay out their money from their claims, they now are paying out claims for man boobs for Risperdal. And they're about to go bankrupt. I hope they all go bankrupt from opioids and man boobs and not curing cancer and all the other bullshit. Now, thanks to all of you that watched the video today with Matt Powers, that we just have and look, the numbers going up. Boom. We love it. Matt is going to be able to spend all winter making the book and the videos and the series for you guys. And we're in for $54, 52. We got the signed book and I don't even know what I got. But I can't wait till I get it. So there's still 8 hours left. So if you still want to go help out Matt, the links will be below. Hope you got something out of the video. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Thanks to all of our new Patreons, few of our one-time donors that are coming in, and most importantly, Alien Allen, who has dedicated the rest of his life to help the project. We're going to get a lot done with Allen, and I hope he stays a long time. The markets are failing. Precious metals and crypto is a good way to hedge your bets. Take a third of your money and chuck it there. You got nothing to lose. You're going to lose your money in the banks. We shared last night how the Fed has been printing money now for the last week to keep banks afloat. And now this market fluctuation, how long do you have? Are you planting food? Do you know people that grow food? Do you have a bug out plan? God, I hope so. The shit is about to hit the fan. If you live where millions of people in central and north central Cali are about to get shut off their power, do they have generators? I mean, like, what kind of time did they give you? Are you kidding me? Times are changing. Global unrest in Quito, in Ecuador. That's just south of here. It's about to snow in Texas and Florida this year. People are going to be freaked. We love you.